records are meant to be broken. Hello, everybody. Welcome to After Action Report, your numbers breakdown of all Schmoedown matches to keep you caught up in all the action. Host Megs, as always, and joined by Nat. How was your week? First reactions to all the crazy matches we had this week.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty wild. I feel like we say this every episode, but like, what a week! It was pretty crazy. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yes, for sure. And so everybody knows, if the description of the video didn't clue you in, we are going to be spoiling the Versus Schmoedown pay-per-view. So if you did not watch it because you're a $10 or above patron over at the Schmoedown Patreon, or you did not get it through the schmoedownlive.com as a pay-per-view ticket, forewarned, we are going to be breaking that down in its entirety. But without further ado, we have got 5 amazing matches to talk about. We started off the week with a Star Wars match. The tournament is just still chugging along. This is actually our second to last match in the round 1 of this tournament. We had Marie Wilson against Gold Leader. We had an IG match there in the week that had Greg Alba return, as well as a return of Taylor Robinson, a competitor we have not seen for quite some time. Then we had the tournament final of Rushmore versus Danger Zone. Then we get into this amazing versus match where we had a number 1 contender qualifier match between Marisol McKee and Janine the Machine. And the main event, the title match between Mark Knopik and Mike Kalinowski. Tres, the rubber match that we had all been waiting for years. It seems like a couple of these matches have been kind of built up, where we've been anticipating seeing these competitors again for a long time. So super excited to get to talk about all the crazy things that happened. So now, without further ado, let's get into these suckers here.
Let's do it.
Starting off, we had, from the usual suspects, Marvelous Marie Wilson and Gold Leader from the Finstock Exchange. Thank you guys so much for popping in here live, and if you're joining afterwards, please go ahead and throw a like and maybe a comment down on this video. We always appreciate hearing from you guys what you think. But for this match, Star Wars Tournament Round 1, starting off, we had Gold Leader up by 2, going perfect with the bonus for 11 points to Marie Wilson getting 9. Going over into Round 2, we had Gold Leader deferring over to Marie, who spins Spinner's Choice, decides to take Rogue 1, where she goes 9 out of 10 points, checking down a multiple choice once. Gold Leader responds by taking the Rise of Skywalker on his first spin and sweeping the round 10 for 10, which gives Gold Leader a gain of 1 point to now be up 3 points, 21 to 18, going into the final round, where we see Marie going her first 2 questions, 2-pointer in vehicles, weapons, and tech, and who set it for 3 points, bouncing it over to Gold Leader, who hits a 2 and 3 in The Last Jedi and Heroes, respectively. Marie Wilson hits her 5-pointer in Return of the Jedi, forcing Gold Leader to hit a 5-pointer in The Empire Strikes Back to give him the win with a final score of 28 to 31, where Marie Wilson answered 17 of 18 questions for 94% accuracy and scored 90% of 31 available points. Gold Leader answering 19 of 19 questions for 100% accuracy and scored 100% of 31 available points. Another 100-100 in this tournament. Nat, how crazy competitive is this league?
Oh, it's insanely competitive. Before I go into the match, I just want to bring up real quick. Alan Smithy says Kalinowski was on C2A last night. Yeah, if you haven't seen that episode, go check out Call Live. It was a great episode, so I've heard. I haven't seen it yet. I saw the end where Jake said some very nice things about me. But yeah, I should have been on, because she has not answered my DM about being on No Chill. But my jokes are not really topical anymore, so it's fine. Onto the match. It's wild to me that this division is so competitive, and also, like, these are 2 players who were built up so highly, because Marie Wilson is a Dragon Con player. Gold Leader has had a very, very impressive first match. So it's always, like, interesting to me how 2 players can be built up so much and one of them has to lose. I could not come in a match conceiving like one of these players will walk away 1-1. So it delivered on all fronts. I thought it was an ultra competitive match, and Gold Leader got 100%. And there's not really much we can do to combat that besides going
right. Absolutely. And, Marie missing one question in round 1 and then checking down one time in round 2. That was all it took. And I looked back at some previous Star Wars matches, and out of 27 matches that we've had currently from 2018 to now, we've only had 3 instances where a competitor that is down coming out of round 1 is able to actually win the match. Might have some further stats on that as we go along. But those are just kind of the quick numbers that I found. So again, the ultra competitiveness and the tightness of this division, if you're down coming out of that first round or you're down coming out of that second round, it gets really competitive and really hard to fight your way back with the level of proficiency that these competitors have to be at top level here in this division. So super excited to see Gold Leader coming up again, because based on where we're at, I actually wanted to pull up that bracket here, because we're looking at, Gold Leader is going to end up against Zach Burkett. And then actually today on Patreon released the match between Andres Cabrera and Sean Sullivan. The winner of that will face Thomas Harper. Already we've seen Thomas Harper do 100-100. Gold Leader's done 100-100. If they both end up coming out of their sides of the bracket, we're going to be going to sudden death unless somebody blinks. Because these guys have not shown weakness yet.
No, they haven't. And I can't call it, honestly. We have Andres versus Sean today. I don't know what happens. I haven't seen it yet. But Andres won the yesterday's tournament. And I understand that it was a weaker bracket, but not by much. There were some killers last year.
Absolutely.
And he could very well win this tournament right here. But Thomas Harper has not shown any signs of weakness at all. So I don't know.
I think he had one match where he checked on multiple choice once, ended up not costing him the match. But I mean, Zach Burkett was really strong in his performance too. So
he's very good. I can't wait for that match. And also Sean Sullivan. Let's not discount Sean Sullivan. He's on No Chill. He was on No Chill. And if you're on a show that I host, then you're probably a winner. So I don't know. This tournament, you can't predict it. It's just crazy. I'm very happy Gold Leader got the win. Nothing against Brody Wilson. I just really love Gold Leader's character, and I think that character, to have that character, he needs to win. So I'm looking forward to him versus Burkett.
Absolutely. Then hopefully we'll be seeing that here in the next couple weeks. But we're going to move on into our second match of the week. We had Greg Alba coming back into the IG division along with TaylorMade Robinson, who we have not seen her for quite some time since she competed in a 5-way back in 2018. So coming into this match, we ended up with Alba being up by 1, 8-7, coming out of that round. Coming on over here into round 2, Greg decides to defer over to Robinson, who she spins away from Batman at the prompting of her manager, Gucci, and ends up taking opponent's choice, and no further comment on that. Given dystopian future and time travel, where she comes out of that round with 5 out of 10, checks down the multiple choice 4 times, does give up a 1 multiple choice steal opportunity, and then Alba retorts by spinning away from Transformers, ends up taking comic book movies, where he goes 6 out of 10. He checks down the multiple choice once, misses a 2-pointer, and gives up a 1-point steal. So the 2-pointer was not swooped up by Robinson, but she did pick up the 1 point there on multiple choice for a steal there, which gives Alba a game total of 1 to be up by 2, 15-13, going into our final round, where Robinson hits a 2-pointer in Swashbuckling Adventure, bounces it over to Alba, who misses a 2-pointer in Transformers. We take it back over to Robinson, who misses a 3-pointer in Superman. Alba hits a 3-pointer in Marvel, and Robinson misses her 5-pointer in Fantasy Sci-Fi, which does give Alba the win with a final score of 18-15, where Alba answered 13 of 19 questions for 68% accuracy and scored 56% of 32 available points. Robinson answered 13 of 20 questions for 65% accuracy and scored 44% of 34 available points. So statistically not a stellar match for either one of them, but I'm glad to see them both back in the league. I think Taylor is going to be a great addition back into this IG division. I think getting that first match under her belt is going to be good. Maybe shake off some of those nerves, build up some of that confidence to be confident in what she thinks she knows, and really getting more into the strategic analyst of wheel slices, knowing what she's really comfortable taking and just getting more exposure there. Alba's just always a treat to have in the Schmoedown, whatever division he's in. Him and John Humphrey are always so much fun to watch in teams when they're in there. And they both have been finding their footing in the IG league, or division, I'm sorry. Yeah. So anything else you want to add in about this, Nat?
Yeah, I think Andrew Guy said it best, where he said that, I'm paraphrasing, but pretty much Alba is not really the player you watch for the same reasons you watch like an Adam Collins or a Dan Merle. Like, you're not watching him to dominate. You're watching him to be entertained. And I think he does his job very well. And I will always root for him. I think that he's one of my favorite competitors in the league. I love the Real Rejects. We can't talk about this match without talking about Tom suggesting that Taylor spin away from Batman phones. I mentioned on this show previously that I want to see more managers tell players that they're wrong about their opinion on a certain round 2 slice. This was not the time for that. I think that this was a huge mistake, and I understand that.
I think the one thing that just really that bugged me while I was watching it was hearing Robinson say that there were 2 other slices on there that she wanted more. Yeah. Only 2.
2's not a big number.
Number-wise, I'm not confident with you saying, unless you are absolutely positive you do not want that slice and there are 2 other slices you definitely want, stick with what you relatively know and don't risk something you really didn't want, which in this case was opponent's choice. We didn't know a whole lot about her coming back in, so we didn't know she could have been really good with dystopian future and time travel, and those could have just been off questions for her. But not the most stellar example of manager-player interactions in this digital age, specifically.
No, it was definitely a mistake. I mean, if it paid off, we would have called him a genius, but it didn't. So we have to call it as it is. I think that Batman would have been a safe bet because she did seem comfortable with it. And it's just the right amount of movies where there's not too little where it gets super deep, and there's not a lot where you have to study a bunch of movies. So I think that she should have taken Batman against her manager's suggestions. But I don't know. Sometimes you just have to. You don't know. I don't know whether if I was a competitor, where I would feel comfortable trusting myself versus trusting my manager to make that decision for me.
Yeah, so, which is why I'm super excited to see her kind of take that to heart and say, okay, maybe I should have been more insistent on sticking with Batman. And that will help build her confidence as she goes into the match. And she comes back and blows us all away. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, and also another thing. She said that there were 2 more slices that she would have preferred. I would have understand risking it against a championship level competitor, but no offense to Greg Alba, this match was not that. She should have gotten away with playing it safe. So I definitely think that was a mistake. But congratulations to Greg Alba. I'm never gonna be mad that he wins.
Absolutely not. No, nothing against him at all. I mean, we're gonna nitpick the game. We're gonna look at the strategy. I mean, understanding what percentage you think you can get on the wheel and bases versus what you've spun, that's all statistics, that's all numbers, it's all within our purview. We love talking about this stuff. But let's get into a match that was going to be a yelling match of some sort. Rushmore versus Danger Zone. The tournament final, it is only a 3-rounder because it is a mini tournament. It's not the official Ultimate Teams tournament. So even though this is a tournament final, it is merely a qualifier for a number 1 contender match, not a qualifier for it's not a number 1 contender match for a title shot. Mm-hmm. Thus why it's only 3 rounds. But you're pitching Roca against Bateman and Merle. You're throwing JTE in there. Talk about clash of the characters and clash of personalities and characters that will just go at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Merle's getting a little bit more into the game of it, which has been very interesting to see. But obviously, Bateman and Rocha just going at each other the whole time. JTE just not caring. He's going to go in there. He's going to answer his questions, not really rattled. Totally understandable from him. But once we actually got through the pre-game shenanigans, we actually got into the match, which got very interesting, where coming out of that round one, Danger Zone is up 5, 18-13, where Merle and Bateman both got perfect rounds plus a bonus, with JTE just missing out with 7 points and Rocha coming out with 6 points there in round one. Danger Zone decides to defer to Rushmore and they decide to take action adventure on their first spin. They check down a multiple choice once on that first question, miss it, and give up that 1 point steal there, but otherwise go 10 out of 12, answering for the full 2 points the rest of the question. Danger Zone comes in and ends up with opponent's choice on their first spin, and we're given martial arts movies, where they come out with 7 out of 12 points, checking down a multiple choice 5 times, but offering no steal opportunities. More on that later, which does give Rushmore a gain of 2 in this round. However, Danger Zone is still up by 3, 26-23, going into this final round, where Rocha misses a 2-pointer in romantic comedies, goes over to JTE, who hits a 3-pointer in 1980s, bounces over to Danger Zone, where Merle takes a 2-pointer in Steven Spielberg, back over to Rushmore, who hit their 5-pointer in Will Smith, leaving Ben to hit a 3-pointer in Thriller, and for the collective team to hit a 5-pointer in Denzel Washington, which does give Danger Zone the win with a final score of 36-31, where Rushmore answered 20 of 25 questions for 80% accuracy, scored 78% of 40 available points. Danger Zone answering 28 of 28 questions for 100% accuracy and scored 88% of 41 available points. Oh,
yeah. What a match.
What a match indeed.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Danger Zone checking down a multiple choice 5 times in round 2. Strategically, they were protecting the lead, and it also afforded them the opportunity to be the second team in league history to hit a 100% accuracy in a team's division match.
And it happened this season.
And it happened both of them this season. Deception, in their first match against Blackjack, they did get the full 100 potential points as well. But yes, both of those teams have now hit 100% accuracy, which is crazy. Just shows the depth and the proficiency of this division as a whole. Yes.
It just goes to show, like, back in the day, super teams were far and away. Like, I remember when Christian put together Above the Line, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is a super team." Pretty much every team is a super team now. If they're at this level, like, it's crazy to me. I do want to say that I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been Kaiser who said that Rushmore picked the wrong choice when picking martial arts films for Danger Zone. I think if you can get a team like Dan Myrtle and Ben Bateman to check down a multiple choice 5 times, then that's pretty much the best case scenario for you, even if there were no steals. So I think this match was very competitive, especially for a match where one team got 100% accuracy. I think that's a Danger Zone proving what they're not playing to have the most points. They're playing to win. And I think they did that very well in this match.
Absolutely. Yes. And also understand the idea too, that if you're not 100% sure about an answer, like they were 100% sure on that third question on the next Karate Kid answer. Mm-hmm. They were 100% sure, they confirmed, they got it for the full 2 points. Otherwise, they're checking down, even if they have a decent idea, because if you did your research, JTE against Goddard has this category and aced it. So you don't want to give any opportunity. You'd rather check down and get less potential points than maybe give up 1 point in potential than risk a 2-point swing or even a 4-point swing. Actually, it would be a 4-point swing with a 2-point steal opportunity when you already had the advantage of having a 5-point lead coming out of that round previously.
Yeah, they did such a good job at protecting their lead. I did find it interesting that they checked on multiple choice on the Enter the Dragon question because obviously Bruce Lee is in that. But looking back, it was very smart because it could have been a different character. So I think they played it very smart. They knew they had the lead and they had to protect it. So very good game strategically. I will also say that I get so excited when I know an answer to a question and the competitor doesn't. So when Roka missed that Nick Robinson question, I felt so happy. But I do want to say that, but that question, I understand, like, obviously question difficulty is subjective, but I think I think Roka has a good point. Like, Nick Robinson isn't like a big name that you would usually see in those 2-point questions. So there's a point there. But I mean, at the end of the day, Danger Zone just managed to hit all their questions. So
absolutely. And I mean, taking nothing away from Rushmore as a team overall, I think this will kick them into another gear, seeing how this played out. I mean, for a broad category like action adventure and other categories that they've hit, they've decided to stay with very broad categories and done very well. So, big kudos to them for that. Super excited to see them continue on getting into another team's tournament down the line, hopefully, and maybe see this clash again. So,
yeah,
definitely.
I'd imagine we're going to see it again. These two teams are destined to meet again.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll see half of each team and half of the other. Roka will be facing Bateman on June 4th in a pay-per-view. I believe it's the undercard, or it's not the main event. They haven't officially announced that one yet, but I do know that particular match has been announced for June 4th, so super excited about that. But speaking of big singles matches, we had a number 1 contender qualifier match as the undercard for Schmoedown versus pay-per-view event against Janine the Machine and Marisol McKee. Starting off, we knew this was going to be amazing because round 1 tied at 9. Both of them going perfect with the bonus, which is actually Janine's first time getting a perfect round in a match. Super excited for her. That was absolutely amazing to see. Seeing coming into this second round, McKee decides to spin first as the higher ranked competitor at this time. She spins opponent's choice, and Janine decides to give her dance. And she does end up coming away with 7 out of 8 points with 1 check down to multiple choice, but not offering any steal opportunities. Janine takes Frank Capra on her first spin and sweeps the category for 8 out of 8 available points, which gives Janine a gain of 1 to be up by 1, 17-16, going into this final round, where we have a back and forth ping pong against these two. Marisol hitting a 2-pointer in 2010s, Janine 2-pointer in action adventure. Back into the 3-pointers, Marisol romantic comedies, Janine sports. Marisol hitting a 5-pointer in horror. Janine is unable to pull a 5-pointer in thriller in a heartbreaking moment that gives Marisol the win for a final score of 26-22, where Marisol McKee answered 16 of 16 questions for 100% accuracy and scored 96% of 27 available points, just missing that perfect game again by checking out a multiple choice once. Absolutely amazing performance there, with Janine also answering 15 of 16 questions for 94% accuracy and scored 82% of 27 available points. You cannot say that these competitors do not bring the best out of each other with this match.
No,
can't do it.
Do not.
Because this was the best match I've ever seen Janine play, even with a loss there at the end. Absolutely amazing to see.
Yeah, so I didn't have a preference on who I wanted to win this match because I really like Marisol. I really like Janine. But I think you said it best. This match was heartbreaking to do that well, to do that well, and just that 5-pointer. it kills dreams. I think that Marisol played like a near flawless game. She just checked down a multiple choice once, and that put her in immediate danger against Janine.
Mm-hmm.
And that 1 5-point question it's the luck of the draw. Either you know or you don't. And she just got unlucky picking this specific number. I would love to see a rematch between these two because they're so evenly matched, and Janine just keeps getting better and better every time she plays. And Marisol is proving this season that she is worth all the talk about which faction she's going to join, how she's going to make it back to corruption. I think she's proving that she was worth being a core 3 pick. So
absolutely. And Manny bringing out a great point. Roxy being another common denominator here, like being a really good manager for her players, and Janine specifically seems to have done really well under her as well. So I definitely agree there. But yes, definitely looking forward to seeing these ladies come in again. Guarantee we will probably see Janine in the singles tournament coming up. We will also get to see Marisol go up against Kevin Smith at the Collision in July. Super excited to see how that is going to play out.
If this Marisol shows up to play Kevin Smith, then I am Silent Bob, you're in trouble.
For sure. It's definitely going to be a very interesting match to see. She's definitely, with latest teams performances, her singles now, she is on a streak right now. So we'll see if she can keep it up going into these next few matches, which will be very key for her. But we have spent enough time on these preambles. The main event. Intergeekdom title match, Mark Novick versus Mike Kalinowski, a match that we've all been waiting for. Again, as I said before, it's a rubber match, third match that we've seen to them, first time we've seen them playing together since 2018, and we were off and running with a match that I knew was going to be interesting when they both have a couple misses, giving them still tied at 8 coming out of this round 1. So automatically, neither of these competitors are going to go perfect this game, becoming more and more of a trend in IG title matches. Question writers are definitely doing a really good job adding some complexity to these round 1 questions. But coming into round 2, Mara decides to defer over to Mike, who spins DC and decides to keep it on his first spin there. He does come out with 7 out of 10 points, checking down a multiple choice twice, and does give up 1 multiple choice steal that Mara is able to take advantage of. And going over to Mara's spin, she takes Transformers on her first spin, where a very similar situation happens, where she checks down to multiple choice twice, coming out with 7 out of 10 points, misses one of her multiple choice options, but is not given a steal loss of point. Mike is not able to capitalize on that, which does give Kanopic a gain of 1 point to be up by 1, 16 to 15, going into the betting round where Kanopic spins DC, and Mara decides to bet only 1 point. Kalinowski, not too surprising, bets 3 points. They both get it, which does give Kalinowski a gain of 2 to be up 1, 18 to 17. So just neck and neck. These guys are trading blow for blow here. Into the speed round, Kalinowski goes first, and they both answer all questions in the allotted time, no passing, no repeated questions, and both getting 10 out of 10 points. So Kalinowski maintains his 1 point lead, 28 to 27, going into the final round where Mara and Kalinowski both hit their 2-pointers in Heroes and Alien and Predator, respectively, where they both hit their 3-pointers as well. Mara hitting hers in Marvel and Kalinowski in Dystopian Future and Time Travel. Mara is unable to pull a 5-pointer in Comic Book Movies, which gives Kalinowski the win. Final score, 33 to 32, where Mara Kanopic answered 26 of 30 questions for 87% accuracy and scored 71% of 48 available points. Kalinowski answered 25 of 29 questions for 86% accuracy, very close accuracies there, and scored 83% of 40 available points.
Yeah.
Records are meant to be broken. One of these guys was going to be a 3-time Intergeekdom champion, and today it fell to Mike Kalinowski.
I mean, as someone who back in the day, back all those years ago, was championing Mikey 3 belts, I was leading that charge. I am so happy to see him win. Obviously, I love Mara, but I'm a corruption fan for life. So very happy to see him get the win. This was a barn burner. This was, in every sense of the word, this was a battle. I think that a few things to look at. It is interesting that neither of them got a perfect round in round one, which goes to show how tricky these new categories are because Mara missed a swashbuckling adventure question and Mike missed a dystopian future question, which are both two new categories. So it goes to show like how much more prep these people have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting that Mike didn't go perfect for DC. He even lost his steal. So that was interesting. It also goes to show how much harder the questions are.
Well, and considering too, DC is also now a new combined category. It's not DCEU and DC separate. It's all combined, which opens a whole new dynamic to that category. So really interesting that as well.
Yeah, very interesting. And also Mara spun Transformers, which no one wants. I also do think it's very interesting that Mara said she was a more conservative player. She's not a really big risk taker. So in her betting round, she only bet 1 point. I am always of the mindset that if you're in a championship match, you should have confidence in yourself as a championship level competitor and bet the maximum number of points. But the conservative strategy has worked for her in the past, so I'm not going to knock it. I think that could have made it a big difference. I think she would have been in the lead if she did bet all 3 points, and Mike would have had to hit his 5-pointer. So I don't know. It's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. Match was what it is. I think they both played exceptional, and they both proved that they're at the top of the mountain where they should be. I am very excited to see where Mara goes from here, who she's going to compete against, and I am excited to see Mike's first title defense of this reign.
Yeah, see if he can get a title defense under that IG belt, something that has eluded him. Even though he is a 3-time champion, he has not been able to defend. And defending the IG championship is no easy task. Chandru was able to do it once, and Mara stripped him of the opportunity to do it twice. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see Mara potentially get put into an IG tournament picture, maybe 1 or 2 a number 1 contender match in there. But yeah, definitely echo there, Jose. I think based on that post interview, we're gonna see her continuing to play. She's gonna be fighting to get that belt back for sure. But for now, Mike has the belt again, and just kind of thinking back to the idea of the betting round again, like just working the numbers through their head. Had she bet 2 points, she would have been tied. Still would have put her in an opportunity to. It would have pushed Kalinowski to hit his 5 to beat her because they would have still been tied at that point. Had she bet all 3, she would have maintained a 1-point lead. But either way, she would have forced Kalinowski to have to hit his 5-point question in order to beat her. But that is all of the matches that we had from this week. And Santos, haven't seen you in here. Can we talk about Andreyko? So interesting.
Let's talk about Andreyko. My fantasy team's in shambles. I'm a mess right now. I don't want to talk about Andreyko.
So if you want to know what may have happened as a result of the Andreyko thing that happened during the pay-per-view, you may want to check out the match that is available for patrons today and will be publicly available on Wednesday, and we will be covering that match as well as all the other matches that are going to be happening this week next Monday, same channel, same time, 4 PT, 7 Eastern, and yes, definitely what will come out of Andreyko's early retirement. Obviously, very sad to see him go, but excited to know that he has some exciting things in his future. So we all wish him the best in his future endeavors. But
I don't.
To move away from the topic before Nat completely melts down, talk to us about what's happening on the channel tomorrow, Nat.
Yeah, tomorrow we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/call-to-action at 6 Pacific. Every Tuesday we just kind of bullshit around and talk about whatever. I don't really have a plan. But it's me, Dylan, Buffer's there most of the time, and some other guests maybe pop up. Yeah, that's what I got. And also check out No Chill, our 2 recent episodes. Sabrina Ramirez and Sean Sullivan are both really good, so you should check that out. And I don't wish Mark Andreyko the best in his future endeavors because he should have put my fantasy team above his professional life. And that's all I'm saying.
Enough said on that. Everybody go ahead and also check out, we finally got some scheduling and availability things, working on getting them fixed. We did have a call live episode last night. Super excited to see that show back, hopefully with some more consistency as we move on into the season. But be sure to check that out. We had Mike Kalinowski on, which is a lot of fun. Taylor Robinson was also on. So be sure to check out those interviews. They'll be talking more about the matches and kind of the dynamics of things that happened in more detail. But always be checking out here every week to get yourself caught up on everything that happened the week before so you can stay caught up on all the action for this season. It has been amazing so far. We are about to the halfway point, and I feel like we've had so much of a season already, and yet there is so much more to have and so much more to break down. So for the entire Call to Action crew and my co-host Nat, I'm Megs. This has been After Action Report, signing off.